Welcome top news today.
From left by Michael BrochsteinSOPA ImagesLightRocketGetty Images by Michael ReynoldsPoolBloomberg by William B. PlowmanNBCNBC NewsWireGetty Images. What Donald Trump has done here is what every defense lawyer warns the client not to do, which is talk to witnesses. Neal Katyal, a former acting Solicitor General under President Barack Obama, told me Thursday morning. The night before, the New York Times had reported that Robert Mueller is aware of episodes in which Trump discussed the Russia investigation with two key witnesses, White House General Counsel Donald McGahn and former Chief of Staff Reince Priebus. It always looks suspicious, like you are coaching them, coordinating, inducing them, particularly if you are the boss and you wield a certain amount of power, Katyal continued. Obviously nobody wields more power than Donald Trump. The revelation incited a flurry of speculation in Washington's legal community as to whether the president had inadvertently strengthened Mueller's obstruction of justice case, yet again, or even engaged in witness tampering. You've got the president looking much more like an ordinary criminal than somebody who is acting like the president of the United States, Katyal lamented. But it also highlights the mounting tensions between Trump and McGahn, whose job as White House counsel has grown increasingly untenable as the Russia investigation has snowballed. As the Times reports, McGahn previously threatened to quit in June 2017, after Trump asked him to fire Mueller. When the incident was made public, Trump reportedly instructed then White House Staff Secretary Rob Porter to inform McGahn that he should issue a statement denying the account, which McGahn also refused. A subsequent confrontation between McGahn and Trump, witnessed by Chief of Staff John Kelly, was also leaked to the Times. The president said he had never ordered Mr. McGahn to fire the special counsel. Mr. McGahn replied that the president was wrong and that he had in fact asked Mr. McGahn in June to call the Deputy Attorney General, Rod J. Rosenstein, to tell him that the special counsel had a series of conflicts that disqualified him for overseeing the investigation and that he had to be dismissed. The president told Mr. McGahn that he did not remember the discussion that way. Trump moved on, pointing out that Mr. McGahn had never told him that he was going to resign over the order to fire the special counsel. McGahn acknowledged that that was true but said that he had told senior White House officials at the time that he was going to quit. The series of exchanges, which were made known to Mueller and to the Times, mark an unprecedented breakdown in the relationship between the president and the White House counsel. That Trump uses an intermediary to convey a request to the White House counsel and to suggest that if the request isn't satisfied the counsel will be fired, indicates something about how Mr. Trump is managing his relationship with his lawyer that is profoundly disturbing and dysfunctional, Robert Bauer, who served as general counsel to President Obama, told me. More profound, however, is what the exchanges reveal about Trump's corrupting influence on the institution of the presidency. The White House counsel has always walked a fine line in prioritizing the protection of the Oval Office over the person that occupies it. White House counsels are not the president's personal lawyer. They represent the president as president, and so in that sense, McGahn's obligation is to the institution, Bauer explained. It is not easy always for the counsel to distinguish advice of that particular president from legal support for the institution as a whole, because there is in office at any given time a specific individual who has a program and appropriately expects staff, including legal counsel, to help him implement the program. This dynamic is not unique to the Trump administration. Bernie Nussbaum, who served as Bill Clinton's first general counsel, came under fire for what his critics decried as putting the president's personal legal needs ahead of the office of the presidency as the Clinton White House grappled with the Whitewater scandal. Ultimately, such critiques reportedly factored into Nussbaum's decision to resign before the end of Clinton's first year in office. How the White House counsel strikes the balance between attention to the president's interests and to the enduring interests of the institution is one of the central and most difficult tasks he or she has. Bauer told me. Under Trump, however, that tension is reaching a breaking point. Last March, Trump raged against Jeff Sessions for recusing himself from Mueller's probe, telling a group of White House officials that his attorney general should have protected him the way he believes Eric Holder did for Obama and John F. Kennedy's brother did for him. He has repeatedly threatened the independence of the Department of Justice, firing acting Attorney General Sally Yates and FBI Director James Comey railing against Deputy Attorney General Rosenstein and pressuring the FBI to investigate his political enemies. And, as the Stormy Daniels saga illustrates, Trump clearly expects his attorneys to do everything within the power to safeguard him. Trump's personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, paid $130,000 out of pocket to silence Daniels from going public with allegations of an affair, and last month filed an arbitration proceeding to keep a non-disclosure agreement in place. A White House spokesperson said that Trump was unaware of the payment, an incredible ethical breach by Cohen on behalf of his client, if true. Trump's demands for McGahn's loyalty may ultimately force the White House counsel to resign, legal experts say. If you have a president who has difficulty distinguishing his personal wishes from the institutional requirements, in other words, to Donald Trump, the presidency is all about him. That puts additional pressure on the White House counsel to draw the distinction, Bauer told me. Drawing that distinction may become impossible, however, if Trump's behavior forces McGahn to become legally entangled with the Russia inquiry himself. It is true that White House counsel technically represents the office of the president, but his boss is the president, said another D.C. white-collar defense attorney, speaking on the condition of anonymity. At least since Richard Nixon, presidents have hired their own lawyers to counsel them in criminal probes. President Trump seems to have blurred those lines if the stories are accurate. Trump's attempt to have McGahn issue statements puts him in an untenable position since he is already a witness. Legal experts I spoke with suggest Trump's interactions with McGahn point to a broader and more troubling pattern. I don't think that it is specific to the White House counsel. I don't think it is fair to say that Donald Trump doesn't understand the role of the White House top lawyer, said Katyal. Donald Trump doesn't understand the role of the rule of law, period. And the top White House lawyer is just one person in a larger scheme that Trump has no respect for whatsoever. It's a symptom of a larger problem. It is not the problem itself. This is not lost on Mueller. According to multiple reports, the special counsel is questioning witnesses about a series of incidents in which Trump has insisted on unflinching loyalty in the Russia probe, from his decision to fire Comey to his frustrations with Sessions. Trump's alleged exchanges with McGahn and Priebus will doubtless be of similar interest. What Donald Trump does, and I don't think that he can help himself, is time and again demonstrate a pattern of doing business that cannot fail to hurt him with the special counsel. Bauer added. It unavoidably colors how the investigators are going to view questions of motive and intent. They cannot help look at his actions in part through the prism of the kind of individual that they are coming to understand and to know. Renato Mariotti, a former Illinois federal prosecutor, described the situation more bluntly. It is not good for Trump, he explained. It is something that is going to get thrown in the soup and that Mueller is going to try to use to prove his corrupt intent.